I'm going to talk to Peterson. Peterson, do you have any comments on the Nazi presence at your protest? The presence of Nazis and white supremacists.
Hey, gossip aficionados. Welcome back to another scandalous episode where we dive deep into the lives of the Peterson family, exposing the controversies that have rocked their public personas. Today, we are peeling back the layers on Jordan and Mikhaila Peterson, two figures who have made headlines for their supposed championing of free speech, only to reveal their hypocrisy. From Twitter spats with Nick Fuentes to their inconsistent stances on free speech, we've got it all. Let's get into the two biggest Peterson family scandals. The Twitter spat with Nick Fuentes. First up, let's talk about the Twitter clash between Jordan Peterson and Nick Fuentes, a saga that has left many questioning Peterson's commitment to free speech. It all started when a fan asked Jordan Peterson on Twitter when he would debate Nick Fuentes. Peterson's snarky reply, "When hell freezes over," was a clear indication that he was avoiding the confrontation. To many right-wing conservatives, this was a blatant sign of fear. Why wouldn't Peterson, who claims to support open dialogue, debate Nick Fuentes?
Quoting that forever, and he says a lot of weird shit. Like he said, I walk down the street and they call me rabbi, and he starts like weeping.
That's great.
Like, what? So, and then he put that tweet out. I had the same reaction. I'm like, what purpose does that even serve? Like, ignoring me makes sense on the one hand, but to say I will not engage with that person, it acknowledges me. The tweet now has 1 million impressions, and even people that don't like me are saying, well, I thought you're in favor of open discussion. If you don't like the guy, why not talk to him?
His whole thing is communism is like the most evil ideology ever. Killed 100 million people. Free debates, like open communists. He has that daily wire.
The situation escalated when Nick Fuentes began discussing the issue of Jewish power on Twitter, a topic that has always been contentious. Jordan Peterson entered the fray, branding Fuentes a psychopathic rat. This harsh dismissal was not only unprofessional, but also suggested that Peterson was unwilling to engage in a meaningful debate on a sensitive topic. Instead of countering Fuentes' points with logic and reason, Peterson resorted to ad hominem attacks, showing a side that many had not seen before. Things took an even more dramatic turn when Peterson's daughter, Mikhaila Peterson, was seen on Twitter calling for Dr. Anastasia Lupus to be banned because of her comments about Jews. Nick Fuentes quickly pointed out the hypocrisy, noting that Mikhaila Peterson champions free speech until it involves criticism of Jews. This incident exposed a glaring double standard, as the Petersons seem to support free speech selectively, only when it aligns with their own views. The controversy didn't end there. Recently, Candace Owens weighed in on the issue on her show, siding with Nick Fuentes and defending his right to free speech. Owens called out Jordan Peterson for avoiding the debate and urged him to face Fuentes directly. Her support for Fuentes added more fuel to the fire and highlighted the growing divide within conservative circles about who truly supports free speech.
Nick Fuentes, who is considered the leader of the Groyper movement, wrote this in response to her. He wrote, "Your dad literally called me a rat last week. Thank you for exposing yourself and revealing who you really work for. Both of you freaks should be deported to Israel since you love it so much they can have you." And he attached a tweet from Jordan Peterson where Jordan Peterson did in fact write this to
Nick Fuentes himself has been vocal about the situation on his show, criticizing the Petersons for their apparent hypocrisy.
Mikhaila Peterson says that anti-Semitism, yes, anti-Semitism has gone so far that now we actually require hate speech content moderation on Twitter. No refunds, by the way. If you bought one of the Jordan Peterson rugs, if you bought the book, if you bought the Bible course or a ticket to the college tour, one of the speaking tours, no refunds. $100 million, 10 years, free speech, free speech. Now that they actually have it, they say, well, time out. Now we support hate speech, content moderation because anti-Semitism has gone too far.
He argued that their actions reveal a lack of genuine commitment to the principles they preach. Fuentes' commentary resonated with many of his followers, who saw the Petersons as yet another example of public figures who fail to practice what they preach when it comes to free speech.
Michaela Peterson says, shut it down. Free speech has gone too far. And literally, this is not me putting words in her mouth. She says, maybe we need hate speech rules on Twitter now. She said, this must be moderated. This has gone too far. She says, and I'm not backing down. We need to crack down. I think that it's become an epidemic of anti-Semitism. And it's obviously so hypocritical. And Tristan Tate weighed in on this as well. He said on Twitter, I think yesterday morning, he said he's so glad that I'm back on Twitter because I'm the litmus test. So many free speech warriors, they're arguing for free speech, not for me. And I said in response, this free speech thing is really just a big grift for so many.
In summary, the Twitter spat between Nick Fuentes and the Peterson family has exposed significant cracks in their public personas. Jordan Peterson's refusal to debate Fuentes and his daughter's call for censorship have shown that their support for free speech is conditional and self-serving. This scandal has left many right-wing conservatives disillusioned with the Petersons and questioning their true commitment to the cause of free expression.
Because they were freaked out by the transfers. I am not claiming for a moment.
The hypocrisy of the Bill C-16 controversy.
In part over your opposition to this law that we just talked about in Canada, proposing the use of preferred pronouns for transgender people. Just for clarity.
Mandating them.
Next, let's revisit the infamous Bill C-16 controversy that catapulted Jordan Peterson to fame and examine the hypocrisy that lies beneath his proclaimed advocacy for free speech.
I don't really like the way those questions are formulated. Now, I don't know what that means. What do you mean a real woman?
Well, I'm asking you, in your mind, you know, it depends what you think a real woman is, but do you think a trans woman is a woman?
No.
Why not?
Because
Back in 2016, Peterson became a public figure by opposing Canada's Bill C-16, which added gender identity and gender expression to the list of prohibited grounds of discrimination. Peterson argued that the bill would compel speech by forcing individuals to use specific gender pronouns, which he saw as a threat to free speech. Peterson's stance on Bill C-16 earned him a reputation as a defender of free speech and academic freedom. He became a hero to many conservatives who valued the right to speak freely without government interference. However, the recent incidents involving his daughter and Nick Fuentes have cast a shadow over this image. If Peterson truly believed in free speech, why would he and his daughter engage in efforts to silence others? The hypocrisy becomes even more apparent when we consider Peterson's aggressive response to Nick Fuentes' comments about Jewish power. By calling Fuentes a psychopathic rat, Peterson dismissed him without addressing the substance of his arguments. This reaction is reminiscent of the very behavior Peterson condemned when opposing Bill C-16, shutting down speech rather than engaging with it. His actions suggest that his commitment to free speech is selective and self-serving. Moreover, Michaela Peterson's call for the banning of Dr. Anastasia Lupus further undermines their credibility. This move directly contradicts the principles of free speech that Jordan Peterson claimed to defend so passionately. It's one thing to advocate for open dialogue and the exchange of ideas, but it's another to silence voices that challenge your own views. The Petersons' actions reveal a double standard that cannot be ignored.
Well, the first thing I would say is that I'm not anti.
The Bill C-16 controversy was a pivotal moment in Jordan Peterson's career, but the recent scandals have shown that his stance on free speech is not as principled as it seemed. By failing to apply the same standards to themselves that they demand of others, the Petersons have exposed their true colors. Their selective support for free speech suggests that their opposition to Bill C-16 may have been more about personal gain and public image than genuine belief in the principle.
Yes! Right! Exactly!
In conclusion, the hypocrisy surrounding the Bill C-16 controversy, and the recent actions of the Peterson family have shattered their image as champions of free speech. The disconnect between their words and actions has left many right-wing conservatives feeling betrayed. It's clear that the Petersons are willing to compromise their stated principles when it suits their interests, undermining their credibility and diminishing their influence within conservative circles. There you have it, folks. The biggest scandals that have rocked the Peterson family, exposing their hypocrisy and selective support for free speech. From Twitter battles with Nick Fuentes to the inconsistent stance on Bill C-16, the Petersons have shown that they are not the unwavering defenders of free expression they claim to be. Stay tuned for more juicy gossip, and remember to always scrutinize those who claim to champion your values. I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe, as I will continue posting only the best celebrity and K-pop content. This was Watch Wave, and until next time, have a good one.